Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
We're here with another lesson through the Spirit. We're just going to go into talking about Esau and about the lies that Edom spreads about who they are and who we are. And we got a scripture to open up with that the brother Bishop Inap got.
This is Job 13:4. It said, "But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value."
Right. Ye are forgers of lies, and ye are all physicians of no value. Is there more?
That's it on that.
Okay. Read it again.
Yep. It said, "But ye are forgers of lies, ye are physicians of no value."
Ye are forgers of lies, ye are physicians of no value. Now, this book I got right here is called if I could, it's called Who is Esau Edom, right? And now, when you go into this book, right, it brings out a lot of good information. But the main narrative that this book pushes is basically that the so-called Jew are the Edomites, but the other so-called white people are the Christians. That's the lie that is pushed in this book, Who is Esau Edom, written by a man named Charles Wiseman. Right, so one excerpt that I want to read out of here is here in the back of the book, and it's this is from a so-called Jew that makes this statement about his own people. Bear with me one moment. And he makes,
when it says physicians of no value, because when you read the book of Isaiah, the Lord said Israel, the whole head is sick with an incurable disease, meaning their philosophies and the way they think, the way they act. Look at our people now today. They'll tell you that they're Afrocentric, they're Baptists, they're Muslims, they're Bloods, they're Crips. They'll be everything under the sun except what the Lord made them to be, which is supposed to be the prince of the power, and us, and the women, the princess or daughters of Zion.
Right.
You know, there'll be everything else. Witches, warlocks, Masons, OES, Republican, Democrats. They're everything except what the Lord gave them. That's why the Lord said also in the book, I think it's Isaiah 30 or 31, said, "Woe unto them who take a covering, but not of me." Right.
Woe unto they who take a covering, but not of me. Now, I'm going to read something in here by a Jewish author named Maurice Samuel. All this information, all the information we got pretty much is from Jewish historians and archaeologists. So it says here on page 132, the Jewish author Maurice Samuel once stated, "There are essentially two peoples as spiritual forces in the world, Jews and white Christian people. See, you so-called white Christians, you're the devil that the Bible speaks of. And you're not, and bottom line is you're not Christian. Because the real Christians are the Negroes, West Indians, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, and Dominicans, the people that you put in captivity. The people that you brought in captivity in the transatlantic slave trade to the Caribbean and the Americas, North America, Central America, South America, those are the 12 tribes of Israel, not you so-called white people." But I'm going to read on what he says. He says, "What we see occurring in the world is not a conflict between God and a supernatural devil, which Judaized theologians promote. The Jews know that as long as Christians believe that imaginary spooks, devils, or Satans are the evil forces which are to blame for their problems, conflicts, wars, etc. In other words, they believe in the boogeyman, right? That there's a boogeyman that's responsible for all of this, right? It says they will never see that it is the Jew who God has assigned as an evil force here and now. The result is that Christians will never lift up a finger against the menacing Jew as their European ancestors had often done." You see what he said there? He's telling you that the so-called Jew, which he is, that you're the devil. But everybody out there, because in other words, the greatest trick the devil ever did was convince the world that he didn't exist. See, you don't believe that the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He's the physical counterpart to the spiritual demon Satan. See, you don't believe that. You got something else, Dinah?
Yeah, no, I just get Revelation 2 and 9 and 3 and 9 on deck.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I'm going to read a little bit more. He says here, our adversary is whoever God assigns to the role, or who he has made with an evil, ungodly disposition, which is you, the children of Esau. You so-called white people, he made you with an evil disposition. Okay, he made you with an evil disposition. It says in the book of Malachi that that the Lord loved Jacob and he hated Esau, and he laid his mountains and his heritage waste. It says in Romans the 9th chapter, before doing any good or doing any wrong, that the Lord, according to election, might stand. Who the Lord choose? Who we want? He said it was said that the Lord loved Jacob and he hated Esau. It tells you that in the book of Romans. So you Edomites, what you're doing is you're hiding from your identity as being the Edomites. What you did was you took our identity as the Israelites and you took it onto yourself. See, right now, the real Jews in mass don't know that they're the real Jews. What does the scripture say? What's that? Is that Jeremiah 17 and 9?
Yep.
If you could grab that, Jeremiah 17 and 9.
And I got Thessalonians.
Whichever one you got on deck, just you can read it.
17 and 4. It says, Jeremiah 17 and 4, it says, even thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for they have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
Right. Because Israel, we kindled a fire in the Most High's anger by what? Following the gods of these other nations, of the so-called white man, mainly the Hamites. The Hamitic peoples, Jacob went off by following the gods, really, of the Hamitic peoples. Whether it's the Babylonians, whether it's the Egyptians, those are the gods that Israel started following, and that's why we went off, and that's when we kindled that anger with the Most High, because all the other nations, whether it's the Persians, whether it's the Chinese or the Japanese, all the gods that they worship actually go back to Hamitic origin. They go back to Hamitic gods.
Even with Esau today, that's why the Lord called them the modern day Egyptian, which the Egyptians got their gods from Babylon, Nimrod.
Yep. Going back, that's right, going back to ancient Babylon, Nimrod.
That's why America is also known as Babylon the Great.
Or the virgin daughter of Babylon,
yep,
who are to be destroyed.
And why they call them the virgin Babylon? Because they took on the customs of ancient Babylon. Even these so-called Jews, these Amalekites, their main book that they read is the Babylonian Talmud.
Yep. So I'm going to read something else in here in this book on page 9. Right? It's called Who is Esau, Edom? So on page 9, they got a section here called Origin of the Jews, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says, the Jew of today fall within two main types, the Sephardic Jew and the Ashkenazi Jew. The Sephardic Jews are the Jews that come out of Spain and Portugal. They're known as the Sephardim. Then the Ashkenazi, those are the ones that come out of what you call Turkey. Turkey and the areas over there of Russia, in them different areas, those Slavic areas. The Ashkenazi come out of there because really the name Ashkenaz is actually a Japhetic name. See, because the seed of Japhet, which is a dark nation, that's the nation that inhabited Asia Minor, Russia, okay, Gog, Magog, Togarmah, Ashkenaz, those different sons. Another son's name, I think, was Elishai, Ashkenaz, Javan, which is the original name of the Greeks, Javan. All of those lands were inhabited by the sons of Japhet. This is after the flood. The Edomites migrated up there into Japhet's land and took over Japhet's land. And then in Japhetic names, they took those Japhetic names onto themselves. So that's why when people look at those, they look at Europe to this day, they automatically assume that the European is the so-called white man, when he's not. The original Europeans are dark-skinned. Okay, they're dark-skinned, they're different shades of brown. They're not Hamites, the original Europeans, and they're not Israelites, the original Europeans. They're the seed of Japhet. That's where the confusion about who is Japhet comes in, because they pushed Japhet out of their land, and we'll get into that a little bit later. You got something, brother?
That was it on it.
Okay. It says, the Sephardim are also known as Spanish Jews and constitute about 5% of the Jews in the world. The Ashkenazim are the East European Jews, which were found in Poland, Russia, Germany, and Western Asia. This group of Jews make up 90% of the so-called Jews in the world. It says, many reference and historical sources have unequivocally identified that the bulk of the Ashkenazi Jews were derived from a people known as the Khazars. The Khazars. See, a lot of you so-called white people out there in the know, you know about the history of the Khazars, right? The Khazars are basically our Edomites that took over, from what I understand, took over Togarmar's land. Togarmar is one of Japhet's sons. When you look at the ancient map of Togarmar, Togarmar dwelt over there in the land that's set, like in the area, if you want to call it, in between the Black and the Caspian Sea, between Russia and between Turkey, between the Black and Caspian Sea. In that region, Togarmar dwelt in that region, the sons of Togarmar. Some people might go as far as to say that the Khazars are the sons of Togarmar, because you took over Togarmar's land. You got something, brother?
Yep, this is Jeremiah 49:10. It says, but I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places.
Right, see, the Most High made you bare, Esau, and he's uncovered your secret places. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're going into.
It says, and he shall not be able to hide himself.
And you can't hide yourself. See, there's a scripture that said he hath hid himself among the nations. I don't know where it's at off the top of my head. But see, you tried to hide yourself, because really you're trying to hide from the judgment that's going to come down on Esau. Like it says in the Zondervan, Edom figures predominantly in the prophetic scriptures the scene of great future judgments. Okay? And the only neighbor of the Israelites not promised mercy. It says that in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. I don't have it on me right now. I couldn't find my Zondervan. I, you know, kind of lost it. It's probably lost somewhere in my house. But that's what it says in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary concerning Edom. And what you devils are trying to do is you're trying to really get your birthright, the birthright back. But guess what? It never was yours from the beginning. From the foundation of the world, the birthright was never yours. It was always promised to Jacob. Now I'm going to read on. It says, many reference and historical sources have unequivocally identified that the bulk of the Ashkenazi Jews were derived from a people known as Khazars, or Khazars in some texts. The original Jewish encyclopedia of 1905 revealed that the main stock of the Jews came from this Asiatic people known as Khazars. Khazars, a people of Turkish origin whose life and history are interwoven with the very beginnings of the history of the Jews in Russia. Because you're not Jews. Because actually what happened is going to go into that around the year, say somewhere around 740 AD, which would be about the 8th century AD. You Khazars converted to Judaism. There was a man named Kagan Bullen, right? And basically he wanted to clean you up because you were a filthy, dirty, nasty people. It's going to go into it. Filthy, dirty, nasty. You were into phallic worship, into homosexuality, bestiality. You were into all kind of madness. And then he wanted to clean you guys up. So he met with people from Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. This is during the Middle Ages. And the so-called religion that they picked was Judaism, so to speak. So then they converted around 740 AD, which is about the 8th century AD. That's when you became Jews through conversion. The Ashkenazi. That's when you converted to Judaism. But when you go back into ancient times, you go back to the time of Judas Maccabees, under, I believe it was John Hyrcanus, there were Edomites that were made to worship the laws of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that actually became Jews through conversion during that time. And those same Edomites, when you go into the histories, even in the Josephus, those same Edomites fought side by side with the Zealots in the First Roman Jewish War against Rome, who were what? Edomites them damn selves. The Romans called them Idumeans, because where they were from, those Idumeans were from what? They were from Mount Seir, from Petra, whereas the ones in Rome were Edomites who were after the death of David, Solomon, and after the death of Joab, because during the time when Joab was around, Joab tried to kill every male in Edom. Joab almost accomplished killing every male in Edom. But then under Solomon, the Most High raised up an enemy unto Solomon. I always get the name mixed up. I think the name of the Edomite was Adad, I think. And Adad, I believe it's in the book of 1 Kings, I think like the 8th chapter. And Adad basically was raised up as an enemy under King Solomon. And he took some Edomite men and they fled into Egypt up under the Pharaoh at that time. And the Pharaoh gave them land, gave them food, and let them rock out there. And Adad waited until Solomon was dead, until Joab was dead. And then he asked the Pharaoh, listen, you know, I want to go back to my land. And that's when he went back to the land of Edom, Petra, Basra. That's when he went back to that land, when Joab was dead and when King Solomon was dead. Because Joab was on a campaign of trying to wipe the Edomites out. Yep. So you were preserved from that point on, and then there's more history that comes after that. But we'll, Lord willing, if we can, we'll get to it. You got anything to say, brother?
I have something. This is Daniel's 4:17. This is the matter by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and give it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the bases of men. Right.
So you Edomites, you are the basis of men. You're the lowest of men out there.
And when you look at bases in the Hebrew, it's shapal, and it means low.
Yeah. You were the scum of the earth. You so-called Jews. See, because it's not just you. See, these people who know that you're not the Jews, right? They'll call you guys Edomites. They'll say those are Turco-Edomites. You're not the only Edomites out there, because there were dukes of Edom. There were many dukes of Edom. It wasn't just one Duke of Edom, where you had I'm trying to think of the name of them. You had the Amalekites. The Amalekites is basically the chief house of Esau, and then right under them would be Teman. Out of all the Edomite families, Amalek and Teman are the smartest of you Edomites. That would be the people you know as the Germans to this day. Because originally, the people originally in Germany was the seed of Japhet. That was Japhet's land. Israelites got up in there during the Middle Ages. There's history on that, about Israelites that were up there in Germany during the Middle Ages. You know, and that's another can of worms in itself. I'm gonna read on in here. You got a scripture? Go ahead, brother.
That was it.
It says, the Khazars were a nomadic people who had no traces of Hebraic culture. They had been following a pagan and sex-oriented religion until they had officially embraced Judaism in 740 AD. So like I said, they were following a pagan, sex-oriented religion, which was what? They was having sex with every damn thing. They were worshiping the penis. They were shoving them up their behinds too.
Well, that shows you in today, even the Masonic symbols and hand gestures all go to some type of phallus or penis. Like the Vesica Pisces represents a vagina.
Yep. The obelix represents
uncircumcised penis.
Uncircumcised penis. That's what the dildo represents. The dildo is an obelix. Yep. It's a miniature size obelix. That's what it is.
And basically when you're in the army, you see the sergeant stripes on the side of his shoulder pads. The more stripes, meaning the bigger rod you got, meaning you're the big man on the campus or that run stuff. That's what that represents.
Yeah.
It represents the top of an obelisk, aka an uncircumcised penis.
Yeah, you so-called white people, man, you're the devil that the Bible speaks of.
They stole Satan from the other nations.
That's right. Yeah, matter of fact, that's right. You did. You stole Satan from the other nations. And you stole our identity from us.
That's right.
You stole our identity. And this happened during the Middle Ages. Because during that time, everybody knew that the Israelites are black. And that the Israelites are not Hamites, that we're a totally different group of people from Hamitic people. Everybody knew that.
That's right. I got a precept.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
So when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. That's why right now on the earth, everybody is mourning. Because why? Because the wicked beareth rule. And now you're coming with this austerity that you're bringing down. Because basically you're working towards we're basically in the New World Order.
Yep.
We're in the New World Order. That's what's going on right now. We're in the New World Order as we speak at this moment. We're in the New World Order. That was it on that?
That was it on that. And the reason why why this history is so important, because knowing that the wicked root of Antiochus that goes back to Esau, Edom.
That's right.
Or even before that, the spirit of Cain, for those who have ears. Now you understand why we're at the turmoil and the perplexity of this world, because the wicked bear rule. Because when you read 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, 2nd Ezra, it tell you that the end of this world is Esau, Edom.
Right.
And the beginning of the next world is Jacob, Israel.
That's right. The ending of this world is Esau, Edom, and the beginning of the next world is Jacob. That's in the book of Ezra. As a matter of fact, we should get that and read that too.
Okay.
In the book of Ezra. So I'm going to read a little bit more in here, and then I'm gonna jump into something else that I got in my bag. The Khazars were a nomadic people who had no traces of Hebraic culture. They had been following a pagan and sex-oriented religion until they had officially embraced Judaism in 740 AD. While rejecting Christianity and Mohammedanism, the Jewish author and historian Arthur Koestler also concludes that the majority of East European Jews, and hence of world Jewry, is of Khazar and not of Semitic origin. In the beginning of his book, he states, the large majority of surviving Jews in the world is of Eastern European and thus perhaps mainly of Khazar origin. If so, this would mean that their ancestors came not from the Jordan, but from the Volga, not from Canaan, but from the Caucasus, and that genetically they are more closely related to the Hun, Uyghur, and Magyar tribes than to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which that right there is a lie. See, that's confusion right there. All right, Arthur Koestler went off with that because you so-called white people, you are of Semitic origin. You are Semitic.
Okay.
You're Hebrew, Shemitic, Edomites. That's what you are. Hebrew, Shemitic, Edomites. We're Hebrew, Shemitic, Israelites. Okay, there's different Shemitic families, but the Israelites are the chosen Shemitic family. See? So, because this right here would imply, trying to imply that you what? That your ancestors are actually from Eastern Europe, which would make you what? The sons of Japhet. See, that's the implication that's going on here. That's a goddamn lie. Go ahead, brother.
I got a precept for you. This is Psalms 15:16. It says, but unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee. And just to elaborate what the elders going through, he said they don't have Hebrew or Hebraic origins because they never took on the customs. Remember, the Lord said for us to eat our meat well done, not don't eat of the blood, because it's the life of the animal. Right. The so-called white man is like to eat his meat steak, tie, or raw.
Right.
Another thing else, every law, statutes, and commandments that the Heavenly Father said, which makes you good or makes you do good things, is the law, statutes, and commandments. They do the opposite. That's why when he was doing the history of them, he said they don't have any Hebraic or Hebraic origins because they're the damn devil. Now they do come from the loins of
Abraham, Isaac, and Esau.
Isaac, but there wasn't the chosen. Just like Ishmael came out of Abraham and his other sons, but Isaac was the chosen.
That's right.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was that chosen lineage. So that's where they get it, and they try to throw that bone in there, saying that they are Semitic or Shemitic, but they don't take on the customs of our fathers because they're the devil. That's why the Lord said, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have
I hated. And he laid his heritage and his mountains waste.
That's right.
Now it says here, Kostler then devotes the remainder of his 255-page book to prove this premise. For instance, a record of a letter by a Khazar king shows that he traced his people to Noah's son Japheth, not Shem, and to Japheth's grandson Togarmah, the ancestor of all Turkish tribes, which is bullshit, because you fucking Edomites, you do not go back to Japheth. See, you invaded Japheth's land and took over Japheth's land. Again, that's Togarmah's land that the Khazars was in, that you invaded and took over. See, and this is this thing of you Edomites trying to get out of the fact that you're Edomites. See, you're trying to get away from the stigma, from the truth of who you are, which is the Edomites. So then what did you do? You did the ultimate swap. You did the ultimate flim-flam. You took our identity and put it onto yourself. And then you lumped us in with the Hamites and said that we were Hamites. See, and the scriptures say, what's that, Jeremiah 17? Was it 17:4, 17:9?
Uh-huh.
About that the Israelites shall discontinue from the heritage that he gave us. So that's why to this day, the real Israelites en masse don't know who they are. Don't know that they're the real Israelites. See, that's according to what the scriptures say. So that shows that you guys can't be the Israelites based off of that. Paul said there had to be a falling away first until that man of sin be revealed. You're the man of sin that's being revealed. Esau, the so-called white man, the Edomite. You're the man of sin that's being revealed. And see, these people, they put this information out because really it's information in here, but then it's disinformation in here. So that's why you got confusion with a lot of these different Israelite groups out there talking about the white man, that they're Japheth. They're not Esau.
Nigga.
That somebody else is Esau. They fit all the prophecies of Esau.
Yep, exactly. That's why the Lord called them that can't get it, slow bellies.
Right, ye of slow bellies.
I mean, you're spiritually retarded.
Yeah. Yeah, spiritually. You guys are spiritually retarded. You got something, brother?
Yeah. That was it on that.
Yeah, you guys are spiritually retarded. Now, I'm going to read something else from another book that I got in here that's dealing with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man.
That's right. Damn
now,
no.
this is
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna read something else in here. This is called Modern Judaism: Opinions, Traditions, Rites, and Ceremonies of the Jews by a scholar named John Allen, right? So you can see it right there, by a scholar named John Allen, and I'm gonna just go right to it. Page 232. I think that's the page.
Now these devils will put truth like in their movies and their books. Hey, and it's a gift. Like this elder, that's his gift to find out certain gems throughout these books and certain history. And in movies, they put it in your face.
Yeah, they put it in your face. They put it in your face. You know?
Like Apostle Gabar, the Spirit always had them say for many moons, that be able to tell a lie, you got to know the truth.
Exactly. Give me that one. Prepare thyself for the search of thy fathers.
Oh, I got it.
And there's one. I think there's one in Job 8:8, and there's one in there's one in Deuteronomy 32. I think there's one there somewhere. But if you got that one, read that one.
Job 8:8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to search of their fathers.
Right. So that's what we're doing. So me and the brother Elder Einat, right? That's what we're doing. So the Spirit had us search things out, right? Through the Spirit, you know, we've been researching and doing that we've been doing researching for years. So now we're going to bring something out, like I said, from this book called Modern Judaism and
Because the scripture says you got to be fully persuaded in your own mind. You can't believe because any other brother believe. You got to believe because you believe and you sup with Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
Now, we're just, the Lord say he shall give you pastors or teachers according to his heart that shall feed you with knowledge, wisdom, understanding. But the Lord said in the Gospels, with John the Baptist, no man can receive anything except he receive it from on high.
That's right. So now this book I showed you the cover. Now in here, by this man named John Allen, right? This book was printed. I can't really get it up there like that. I'm gonna try. See right there, 1830, published by Forgotten Books, 2012. Originally published 1830. So when this book was published, guess what? We were still in slavery here in America, because the Emancipation Proclamation, what was it? It was signed. Was it 1863? And then 2 years later, in 1865. Negroes, that's where you get Juneteenth from, because 2 years later, the slaves found out that Lincoln had freed them, right? Okay. So when this book was written, this wasn't written for us to be reading this book. This was printed in 1830. So you read that already for the, or prepared thyself for the search? Yep. So now it says here, traditions concerning Edomites, right? Let me see if the camera can focus in on that. If the camera focus in, it won't.
I gotta back it up. So
there we go. It's called Traditions Concerning Edomites, page 231. Esau's descendants, right? So it says Esau's descendants are the subjects of extensive traditions in which the rabbis, with an effrontery, the word effrontery means like the audacity, the gall, the balls, right? That's what the word effrontery means. With the, in other words, with the audacity at which we should wonder in any other men, have set at defiance all authentic history and accurate chronology. These representations, the fallacy of which will be too obvious to require being pointed out, may be briefly comprised under the following heads, right? So in other words, Esau, they got the audacity to actually put this information out. They got the balls to put it out. Remember, when this was published, we were in the cotton fields in the South. And here in the North, because you Negroes was in slavery here in the North, in the South, throughout the Caribbean. Our face was in the ground. Our face was in the dirt.
It was time for us to drink that cup that we wasn't supposed to drink.
Now it says here, check this. It says first that the descendants of Esau, the sworn enemies of the descendants of Jacob, which we're Jacob, even to the end of the world, were at first a small nation inhabiting Mount Seir and the adjacent country, contiguous to the land of Canaan, that they were easily confined within their own limits, as long as the Israelites enjoyed a great and